Good morning. My name is Kelly.
早安，弟兄姐妹，我名字叫做 Kelly，
I am the production director for Shining Light Ministries.
我是那个 Shining Light 那个监狱施工里面的那个主任。
And this is Hannah, also with Shining Light Ministries.
这是我的同工，她叫 Hannah。
We are a small group today, but very happy to be here.
今天我们只是小小的群人来到你们当中，但是我们非常的高兴。
We're thankful for you,
谢谢你们每个弟兄姐妹，
for your generous and faithful support,
谢谢你们是这样很信实的来支持我们这个施工。
and for Pastor James and Melody and their son Hannah for their faithful support,
就是感谢孙牧师还有其他一些弟兄姐妹你们对我们的支持，
and for Bethany Christian Church.
也为你们整个教会来感谢你们。
We are in our third year of offering impact workshops.
所以我们是在我们大概第3年的这样的一个时间，我们会到处去做这样的一个展示。
And you have been with us for all of them.
你们所有的人是一直与我们在一起，
Thank you.
谢谢你们。
Your partnership in prayer and financial support have been used by God in amazing ways.
神今天使用你们对我的代祷，对我们的财务上的支持，还有其他的一些支持，是神被神使用你们大大来支持我们。
And I have very good things to share with you today from our workshops.
所以今天我有一个非常好的信息要跟你们来分享。
I'd like to begin by reading this scripture together.
所以我想跟大家先来读一段经文。
If you can imagine what it would be like to be in prison and read this scripture.
你可以想象，你如果今天你是身处在监狱里，你要来读这段经文，你的感受会是怎么样的？
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Will you read together?
我们一起来读。虚心的人有福了，因为天国是他们的。饥渴慕义的人有福了，因为他们必得饱足。
Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
我们可以一起来读中文的经文。连续的人有福了，因为他们心灵连续；清心的人有福了，因为他们必得见神；使人和睦的人有福了，因为他们必称为神的儿子；为义受逼迫的人有福了，因为天国是他们的。
2 months ago, in February,
大概2个月前，在2月份的时候，
God allowed us the chance to work with the female inmates in Rikers Island.
所以神有让我们有机会，这跟一些富人的在有些的事工在那里。
It was our first time.
是我们的第一次。
Rikers Island is a very dark place.
而这个节日所分享的那个island的地方是一个非常黑暗的一个地方。
Yet we experienced God's light in very powerful ways.
而我们在那里经历到神大能、非常有能的一个能力在那里彰显。
We saw the blessings God talks about in that scripture.
所以我们看到神的祝福，透过刚才那些经文里面所讲的那些祝福
poured out on these women.
所以就把这样一个神的爱的祝福就浇灌在这些妇人的身上。
Even though we were there to help them,
其实我们是在那里是在帮助他们。
they taught us a lot as
但
well.
是这些妇人就是教导了我们很多的事情。
They were poor in spirit. They knew their need for God.
他们是很贫穷的，可能在一些经历上面，他们也需要有神。
Having everything stripped away and spending many hours with their own thoughts.
所以他们很多的东西都被剥夺了，他们就是花了很多的时间，他们这沉思在他们的思想里面。
Realizing their need for God.
甚至他们就是明白到他们这么的需要神。
They were mourning sin of themselves, their own sin, and the sins of others.
他们因着别人的罪，也因着自己的过犯，在那悲伤。
They were humble and meek.
他们是非常谦卑的。
They were thirsty for righteousness, for a new, right way to live.
所以他们也是非常渴慕这样的公义，他们寻求一个新的方式，能够来过他们的生活。
Our times of worship together were sincere and powerful.
而我们聚在一起来敬拜的时间呢，是非常有神的一个大能的同在。
We saw many breakthroughs with women coming closer to Jesus.
我们看到很多当中的妇人呢，他们有这样的一个突破，他们跟主的关系呢更加的靠近。
During the presentation at the end, many of the women found new confidence in themselves.
所以在我们最后的这个展示的最后的过程当中呢，很多的妇女们呢，她们开始找到对自己的自信。
And new confidence in God's power to change lives.
他们也对神的大能能够来改变生命这件事情开始有了自信。
And hope for what they are able to accomplish with His power.
他们也能够有这样的一个盼望，说透过神的大能，他们能够将来所成就的事情。
And when they work together in love.
他们也能够因着爱而聚在一起。
In November of last year, we went to a men's prison.
而在去年的11月呢，我们去拜访了一个男生的一个监狱。
There will be pictures on the screen from the men's prison as I talk.
大家弟兄姐妹可以看到，就是这边有些图片、照片。
These were men in Philadelphia.
这是在那个费城的一个监狱。
And we didn't know how it would go to see men on stage performing.
我们不知道我们当时是怎么样要去来这样子看到他们，造访他们。
Would we find enough men willing to sing and dance on stage?
所以我们就是在那里有一些诗歌分享。
In front of other inmates and staff.
他们呢，监狱的当中有些出来表演，在他们其他的这些监狱的同胞面前。
The answer was yes.
他们的答案是是的。
I wonder if there's another picture where they are on the stage.
这是另外一个，他们有一个表演，就是他们自己监狱里面的这些监狱的那个人呢，跟他们其他的那个监狱的同胞来做表演。
It was even better than we expected.
是超越我们所想象的。
We were blessed to have the local news come and report a story.
我们也很蒙祝福，当时还有另外一个团体来支持我们。
Here is that story.
你看，这是他们的故事。
It's kind performance today in Philadelphia. After just a couple weeks practice, some inmates put on a special show behind bars. Only on Eyewitness News, Greg Argo shows you how the prison performance is changing lives.
这样的一个表演改变很多人的生命。
Remove the blue uniforms. Forget about the barred windows, the barbed wire.
他们的这个表演呢，忘记了自己是身处在监狱
Something I
的
would
里面。
never expected. I'm actually a dancer.
And you may not even realize you're inside Philadelphia Prison's detention center.
I'm here on charges and receiving stolen property.
我是一个就是抢劫犯。
I was charged with narcotic, unlawful, unregistered firearm.
我是一个被就是起诉是那种没有注册的枪支。
2 weeks of practice.
They're performing for the toughest audience you ever faced, your peers. And in a jail, that's a challenge.
Jeff Boone is the executive director of Shining Light Schools.
That brings hope through the arts in correctional facilities.
And this jailhouse performance is the first of its kind.
We know nobody else in the United States does anything on this larger scale.
And the result of hours of practice.
We begin with men who come in downtrodden, feeling looked down upon by society.
But after
他们
all
的当他们出监狱的时候，他们觉得他们会被社会所看低。
This program helped a lot. It built my confidence because I'm a shy person. I've always been like that.
The most thing that's going to be different about me is my outlook. I know now that I have a purpose and God
透过
will
这样的一种
be.
表演，透过这个生命来施工，让我开始找回了我的自信。
And as important as this performance is, the organizers say the goal, of course, is to keep all of the performers, all of those in the audience from returning back to prison.
就是这样的表演，帮助这些坐不牢的人的方式，他们再次能够以后再回到监狱的里面。
We had a chance to visit these men 3 weeks after our workshop.
在我们有一个展示的过程之后，这3个礼拜呢，我们有个机会能够再回去来造访他们。
And they were happy to tell us of the many positive responses they received
所以他们就能够给我们有一些很好的一些正面的回应，说他们所领受的，
from other men and staff in the prison.
就是从其他的这些监狱的同工里面，还有监狱坐牢的这些其他的人里面。
They were respected for having the courage to stand on stage and proclaim Jesus.
所以他们能够有这样的勇气站在舞台上来宣传耶稣。
Many others asked questions to them about Jesus or struggles in their life.
但是其他很多坐牢的人呢，就问这些人有关于耶稣的事情，他们生命中的一些挣扎。
Even officers were treating inmates better because they saw them as more than a criminal.
但是那些监狱里面那些狱卒呢，也开始对他们好起来，因为他们看待这些坐牢的人，不再是他们是坐牢，而是用一个不同的眼光来看待他们。
Michael, one of the men in the news reports,
就是有个人叫 Michael， 是这个故事里面的一个人。
recently wrote us from prison, saying that shining light was the beginning of his walk with Jesus.
这个人就开始加入这个 Shining Light 的这个事工呢，就是他跟主耶稣开始这个同步行的一个开始。
I'd like to read a little of his letter to us.
我想跟大家来分享他的一个信件。
I want you to know that because of shining light and you, this was the beginning of my walk with Jesus.
我想要让大家知道，因为这个 Shining Light 的这个事工，还有你们的这个祷告，是我是开始跟主耶稣同行的，现在是我的开始。
I've been sentenced to 5 to 10 years.
我当时被判刑5到10年的时间。
This, believe it or not, has made my faith even stronger.
但是你相信吗？这让我对神的信心更加的刚强。
Because Jesus, through His Holy Spirit, has revealed His plan for me.
因着透过圣灵，主耶稣就把他对我生命的计划来向我启示。
Which is to get closer to Him and to study the Word of God.
所以我能够来更加的靠近他，来研读神的话语。
So that when I am released, I can, through Him, build an army of soldiers.
所以当我出监牢以后，我能够去为神来建造这个神国的军队。
To do His work and to minister to the poor and addicted.
能够去服侍那些贫穷需要的人。
I'm going to open up frontline houses.
我要来开始一个叫做 Frontline 的这个家的一个事工。
In the worst hit parts of the city.
就是在那个城市里面最糟的那个区域，我来开始这样的一个事工。
And build Jesus' army to help minister to the poor and afflicted.
也就是能够为主来建造这样的一个军队，去帮助那些贫穷需要的人。
I don't know how I'm going to do it. I just know that I am.
我不知道我要怎么做，但是我知道我会从现在可以开始。
That's from Michael.
这是从 Michael 来的一个信。
The last workshop I want to tell you about is actually the first workshop we did.
其实我要跟大家分享的最后一个我们的一个展示呢，其实是我们开始的第一个展示。
It's the same women's jail in Philadelphia where we started.
就是同样在费城的一个妇女的一个监狱事工。
This was our third workshop at Riverside Correctional Facility.
这是我们第3年跟第3次的有这样的一个展示。
And here we learned about the impact of coming year after year.
就是每一年我们做这样的展示呢，我们都能够感受到我们所能够带下来一些影响。
Especially for inmates who are there every year.
也就是说，他们监狱的那同僚呢，他们彼此之间也能够有这样的影响。
One woman, Amanda, has been there all 3 years of our workshops.
当中有一个女囚犯呢，她的名叫 Amanda， 她已经在那里有3年的时间。
And has been so encouraged by us coming back every year.
我们每一年回去拜访他们呢，他们都非常受到鼓励。
As a strong believer in Jesus and a witness to many in the jail.
而他们现在是成为主非常刚强的信徒，能够去为主来做很多的见证。
The workshops give her encouragement that she needs to keep going.
而今天我们这样的一个展示呢，给他们带下鼓励呢，让他们能够继续来往前行。
Especially when life in prison gets hard.
有时候当他们有时终身监禁的一些，对他们是很困难的。
Now I'd like to ask Hannah, one of our dance team leaders at this facility, to share more.
所以现在有个妇人叫 Hannah， 她是他们那个舞蹈事工的一个领袖。
Good morning.
早安。
So I had the privilege of leading the first dance team for an impact workshop.
所以我能够有这样的荣幸的开始我的一个这个舞蹈的一个这样的事工呢，在这样的一个事工里面。
And it's amazing to see the growth that Shining Light has experienced since then.
也是能够在这样山寨事工里面，我看到这样的一个成长。
I'd like to tell you about 2 women that I worked with in my time at the jail.
我想跟大家分享我在监狱里面遇到的2个妇人，我跟他们之间的一些互动的经验。
Taisha started out as a shy, reserved person.
就是有个妇人叫台莎，她开始呢是一个非常害羞、非常内向的一个人。
And through Shining Light, I had the privilege of watching her grow in leadership.
所以透过这个 Shining Light 这个事工呢，我有这样机会能够看到她能够成长成像一个领袖这样的一个职分里。
We asked Taisha to choreograph one of the big group sections for all of the ladies.
所以我们就请台莎来帮助我们在这样我们一个事工的一个部分。
She taught it to all 17 of her peers in the program.
所以她就开始来教导她整个里面其他的这些同僚17个人，教导他们17个人。
She was very nervous at first, but did a wonderful job.
开始的时候她非常的紧张，但她做了非常的好。
Since then, she has been going into RCF, the jail, to preach.
所以自从这之后呢，她就常常会去到监狱里面去来分享。
And she's been doing this for about the past year, now that she's on the outside.
所以她过去1年时间一直在帮助我们，她现在已经出来了。
And this is something that would have made her very scared just a few years ago before Shining Light.
在Shining Light还没探访他们之前呢，她那个时候是非常一个恐惧的一个人。
The second woman I'd like to tell you about is Latifa.
第二个妇人，我跟大家分享，她名叫 Latifa。
She was a singer in the 2015 and 2016 workshops.
她是我们这整个展示的2015年到2016年2次的展示的之中，她是一个歌唱者。
She naturally has a strong leadership personality and has a lot of joy.
其实她本质呢是一个做领袖的，有一个本质在她里面，她也有很多的喜乐。
She would encourage the other inmates in the Lord throughout the program.
所以她常常透过这样的一个节目呢，她用神的话来鼓励她其他里面坐牢的朋友。
After she was released from jail, she started her own event planning business.
所以在她从监狱里面出来以后，她开始了自己的一些生意。
And after she was released, she put on her own performance.
在她从监狱里出来之后呢，她有开始自己的一些好像的表演。
With about 12 or 15 other people, one of whom was the warden of the facility of the jail.
所以呢，这大概12到15个人是她整个团队里面的这些成员。
And now she's working at this business with another Shining Light alumni, Shireen.
所以她跟这个 Shining Light Ministry 的这个其他的一个同工呢，开始了她的一些事业。
It's been amazing to see the impact that Shining Light had on these two women even after they were released from jail.
所以我们就是很能够荣幸看到我们这个事工呢带下来的影响。你看这2个妇人，她们出牢了以后，她们所能够做的事情。
And this is a result of God's faithfulness to us and to them, especially.
这都是因为神的信实，神带下来的这一切。
God gave Taisha and Latifa gifts that the darkness of the world had dimmed.
所以今天神给台下还另外这一个女孩子，神给了他们这些恩赐，能够带到这样黑暗的世界里面。
And I'm thankful that He uses Shining Light as His vessel to help them discover their gifts.
所以我很高兴能够神用Shining Light这样的一个事工呢，帮助这些坐牢的人发现到他们自己里面神给他们的恩赐。
Now we're going to watch a short video about Latifa and
现在
Shireen.
看这2个妇人的一些简短的影片。
My name is Latifa Bradley. I'm an alumni from Shining Light,
我是从Shining
and
Light
I've
出来
been
的。
home since March 1st, 2016.
我2016
If you
年
saw
3
me
月就出来了。
feeling down, it was about my relationship with God. It's like I'm praying to you every day.
所以现在是关乎我跟神
I
之
did
间
what
的
I
一个
thought I
关
could
系。
do, and it's like I'm still here.
My faith was all over the place. I was starting to get weary and tired. Like my court dates were getting pushed back 5 and 6 months apart when they
当我
were
开
pushed
始的时候，
for
非常
a
的
month or
疲乏，
two. So I
因为
think
我的
at
一
that
些
point
上庭的
when
日
I
子，
did shine that
还有
light,
其
I
他的
was
事情。
just getting weary.
So once it got to year 2, I was just over everything, and I was disillusioned.
在1、2年之后呢，我开始比较习
Shining
惯。
Light, it gave me a sense of camaraderie and just allowed me to build relationships with people that I saw every day but never really spoke to.
透过这样的
Got
事
to
工
know.
呢，我能够跟其他的孩
Spiritually
子建立
speaking,
这样的
that
关
was
系。
the part that impacted me the most, because being from the demographic that I'm from, an ex-offender, it's like you do your time, then you come out and you're crucified because you're an ex-offender. You guys gave
因为
us
透过人
this
工统
sense
计呢，
of
出狱的人呢，通常会被社会所拒绝，但是透
that
过
we
相
don't
应
get
爱
from
的事工呢，
society,
给我很
and it gave me personally a drive to keep going.
It just gave me a sense of confidence and a better approach to my position now, which is primarily dealing with people. So just being able to sit down with a total stranger and form a relationship and really be able to get down to what they want and what they expect.
透过这样的时候，我能够开始跟这些不认识的人坐下来，
My faith was like
开始建立这样的关
1,000
系。
for Jesus, and I felt grateful that I had an outlet to express my creativity. You don't have that in jail.
我很高兴，
Shining
有
light
这样的一个
made
机
me
会。
a confident performer.
Shining Light gave me a boost in faith and a lesson in humility.
今天山根的施工把我的信心给建造起来。
We would now like to share a song with you.
现在我们要跟大家来分享一首诗歌。
Whenever I hear this song, I think of the men and women we had the privilege to work with.
所以每次当我分享这个诗歌的时候，我就能够想到那些我们一起合作的那些弟兄姐妹。
I think of how this may encourage them in their faith.
所以我能够想到他们是怎么样，就是凭信心的这样来鼓励。
But also, if I'm honest, I think of how I need this encouragement too,
其实有的时候我在想，我也是很需要这样的来被鼓励，
just as much as they do.
就像这些在牢里面的这些朋友们。
Maybe you find yourself in need of encouragement this morning.
可能今天早上你也发现，你也非常的需要被鼓励。
Before we sing this song, I'd like to read the scripture.
在我们还没开始分享这首歌之前，我想跟大家读一段经文。
Wherefore, seeing we are also compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us.
我们既有着许多的见证人，就如同云彩般，云彩围绕着我们，就当放下各样的重担，脱去缠累我们的罪，存心忍耐，奔跑那摆在我们前头的路程。
Looking unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endured such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be wearied and faint in your minds.
仰望那为我们信心创始成终的耶稣，仰望那将在真道创始成终的耶稣，他因那摆在前面的喜乐，就轻看羞辱，忍受了十字架的苦难，便坐在神宝座的右边。那忍受罪人这样顶撞的，你们要思想，免得疲倦灰心。
This song is called Come Out of Hiding.
今天这个歌叫做从隐藏中出来。
Come out of hiding, you're safe here with me. There's no need to cover what I already see. You've got your reasons, but I hold your peace. You've been on lockdown and I hold the key. 'Cause I loved you before you knew it was love, and I saw it all, still I chose the cross. You were the one that I was thinking of when I rose from the grave. Now rid of the shackles, my victory's yours. I tore the veil for you to come close. There's no reason to stand at a distance